Terry McLaurin ain't going nowhere, just as we thought. I mean, come on. The contract drama is over. He got a 3-year, $96 million extension, good for $32 million per season on average, but it is a lot more complicated than that. There has been a huge holdup, and it sounded like Terry and the team were just nowhere close on a new deal, and looking at that new extension, I actually think that's pretty clear. We had to wait here and try to see the guarantees to do this video because that's really what mattered so much here, as well as the length of the contract, which I think Washington only wanted 3 years. And it turns out this is just a super front-loaded deal. The 32 million number looks really pretty, and like Washington maybe even caved to what Terry asked, but I don't think that's how the contract details look at all. He got a $30 million signing bonus, and the base money on the new deal is $87 million. So the key here was always guarantees, not what the AAV was. Terry and his agent look great because it did get up to $32 million per season, but it's over $44 million guaranteed, which gives Washington some wiggle room. Then it has $9.4 million in upside if Terry can hit a bunch of incentives going through each season. His marks are 83 catches, 1,097 yards, and 10 touchdowns, while also making the playoffs. Then there's another incentive for being an All-Pro, and then, of course, workout bonuses and roster bonuses. There doesn't appear to be any guaranteed money after 2026. So Terry is getting paid big time, yes, but if he does fall off a cliff, and that could very well happen considering he's turning 30 in September, Washington could get out of this pretty fast. And if Terry is great, we're going to have to retry and figure out a new contract when Jaden Daniels will also be up for an extension. It's been just a long time coming to get the Terry McLaurin deal done. It's been one of, if not the literal biggest topic in the NFL this offseason, along with Micah Parsons and Trey Hendrickson having their own drama. It seems like it was all kind of just more difficult than it needed to be. There's been a lot of criticism of his agent, Buddy Baker, who doesn't have another client nearly as big. It did all work out in the end, though. Terry had 1 year left on a 3-year, $68 million extension that he had signed in 2022. He was set to make $19.9 million this season. The market for wide receivers has obviously skyrocketed since then. He wanted to cash in, and now he has. We don't get to hear about this for a while, and I have a pretty good feeling that that ankle injury that landed him on the PUP list when he did return to training camp, that's probably feeling a lot better now. It just took a while and a lot of money. Ben Standig has reported just how really far apart Terry and the team were, which makes sense based on reports we've heard. Apparently, Terry started negotiations hoping to get more than Justin Jefferson per year, who was making $35 million. The Commanders started at $25 million, so no wonder it took so long. Terry McLaurin deserved to get paid, and I think what he got paid was completely fair. He is not a top 5 NFL wide receiver, but he's very damn good, and he's proven that since day one in Washington. Terry McLaurin has just had a fantastic career in Washington. He was a 3rd-round pick back in 2019, and he really wasn't that dude at Ohio State. He kind of had to wait his turn. It took a long time, over 5 seasons, and he ended up having a great redshirt senior year. He had 35 catches for 701 yards and 11 touchdowns. It propelled him to being a legit NFL draft pick, and his quarterback that year was Dwayne Haskins. That same draft, Washington took Haskins at 15, so that was kind of a big reason of why Terry landed in Washington. Haskins ended up not panning out, but McLaurin did, and he flashed really early on. He was even a week 1 starter because he was so impressive during the offseason. We just got to immediately see how good Terry McLaurin was. I remember people talking about it at training camp where I was working at the time. I got to do a cool story on Terry McLaurin and how he could be a really useful rookie, and here we are. His NFL debut rocked. He had 5 receptions for 125 yards and a 69-yard touchdown. Me and Darren were at a B-dubs watching the game. I recall that. It was like, this guy is legit. He went for 100 yards in 3 different games. He ended up missing 2 games that season, and unfortunately, that's why he missed out on 1,000 yards. The only time in his career he has missed out on 1,000 yards. He finished with 919, and then he had 7 touchdowns on 58 receptions. He already looked like he could be a very real NFL number 1 receiver. That's obviously what he's lived up to, and it hasn't come easy. He has literally had to catch passes from 12 different quarterbacks. 12 different quarterbacks. He had 3 starters as a rookie. There was Haskins, Case Keenum, and Colt McCoy even played in a game. In 2020, Haskins did play again. Then he had Alex Smith and Kyle Allen. McLaurin somehow got got even better from his rookie year. He had a career-high 87 catches for 1,118 yards and 4 touchdowns. He ended up with 3 games over 100 yards again. McLaurin did miss a single game, so he missed 3 games in his first 2 seasons. And since then, he hasn't missed a single game in 4 years. In 2021, he had 77 catches, over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 4 100-yard games. That was the Taylor Heinicke season, which in my opinion was just the most fun year outside of last year's Jaden Daniels year. He was the main quarterback that year. He had 15 starts. Then Heinicke again was the main start in 2022, but Carson Wentz also played a lot. Sam Howell got his first start at the end of that year, and it didn't matter who was behind center. Terry McLaurin was the guy. 77 catches, 1,191 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 different games with 100 yards. McLaurin ended up making his first ever Pro Bowl. Then Sam Howell was the starter in 2023, the entire season. He didn't miss a start, which is very rare in Washington, going back to Kirk Cousins. McLaurin went for just over 1,000 yards, 1,002 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had 79 catches, and he had just one 100-yard game. That all goes to show that Terry McLaurin was great before Jaden Daniels had even gotten to Washington, but then just everything changed because he's been so good. The big thing that changed with Jaden was just touchdowns for McLaurin. McLaurin has already had 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons now, but last year he had a career-high 13 touchdowns. It came with 1,096 yards and 82 catches, and he had 100 yards 5 times. He made his second Pro Bowl, and for the first time was an All-Pro, a second-team All-Pro. Getting to watch Terry McLaurin go through his NFL career in Washington has been incredible. And last year, for the record, was the best of the best. A lot of that was because of Jaden Daniels. But Jaden needs Terry too. Now that Terry is officially extended and definitely returning this season, he slides in as the obvious wide receiver 1 that Washington does need very badly. I can't imagine how much the offense declines if he just doesn't play. That would set up for a Jaden Daniels sophomore slump and Cliff Kingsbury probably losing any shot of being a head coach again. Then after Terry, Washington did trade for Deebo Samuel. He slides in at the number 2. And look, when we did trade for him, I was a little surprised because I viewed Deebo as this guy who can't stay on the field. And he's actually stayed significantly more healthy than I thought he had, or at least played more games. Usually still banged up, sure, but he's played in 15 games each of the last 2 seasons. The problem is that he is not 2021 Deebo Samuel. That was an incredible year. He started getting used as that running back kind of mix of a wide receiver. It was the only time he's had over 900 yards receiving. Last year, he had 670 yards and 3 touchdowns on 51 catches, and the 49ers were not very good. Then the number 3 is Noah Brown. He's coming off of an injury to his kidney that caused him to miss the rest of the season last year after week 13. Remember, he caught that Hail Mary catch against the Bears, but surprising enough, that was his only touchdown catch of the year. He had 56 catches for 453 yards. He re-signed on a 1-year deal this offseason. He slides in there, and then there's only 2 more wide receivers on the roster. Luke McCaffrey made the roster again. He was a 3rd-round pick last year. I was genuinely wondering if he was going to make the roster or not. We didn't see much from him. He had 18 receptions for 168 yards. And then the final wide receiver on the roster is rookie Jalen Lane. Now, I'm a Virginia Tech grad. I watched this dude play a lot in college. I even saw him play at Tech when he was still playing at Middle Tennessee, and he kind of had it. Unfortunately, Tech was not very good, but I believe in the talent this guy has, and it seems like a lot of people are starting to after watching him in the offseason, and I just can't wait to see him play in the pros. That means there's only 5 wide receivers, so I wouldn't be surprised if they add a 6th before week 1 against the Giants. Washington could use the help. You know, I don't think they have the best weapons, but without Terry, they might have legitimately had some of the worst weapons in the league. 34-year-old Zach Ertz is the starter at tight end, and Washington actually has 4 different tight ends on the roster. John Bates is the backup, and he is just a beast as a blocker. Go watch some highlights. Then there's Ben Sinnott, 2nd-round pick last year, and Colson Yankoff, an elite name. He'll return to the fold. Then at running back, Austin Eckler, Chris Rodriguez, and Jeremy McNichols are all back. It sounds like Rodriguez is going to have an important role early, and then Eckler will do his thing in the passing game and on 3rd downs. That leaves Jacory Krosky-Merritt. Bill, he was recently a 7th-round pick, and man, he has been a bit of a hot pick in fantasy football as of late. Can't wait to see him play. The Commanders, admittedly, still don't have the best weapons, but imagine how bad it would be without Terry McLaurin. Jaden Daniels does seem like a guy who can do more with less, and he proved that last year. Now it's time for a new season, and to see if Terry can get up to speed fast, and if Jaden and Washington can continue to improve and be really good just like they were last year.